Good afternoon, everybody, and I wish we didn't have to do this show so early, but hey, that's the way it runs sometimes. It's the Ronnie Hearne Show, the wrap-up show from First Financial Bank on the South Loop here in Stephenville. Come on by. There's what do we have over here? We have some Dr. Pepper to drink, etc., and I think we're waiting for some other things to show up, so we'll obviously have something going on there. But Coach Hearne, how do we start wrapping this up here? I mean, there's so many positives you can find in this season. And there's some low points, and here comes some Papa John's pizza, by the way. But anyway, there's high points, there were low points, and I love the rally that came off against Midwestern State, where you're down by 18 points, tied the game, couldn't quite get over the hill. That's the hardest thing to do. Just ran out of gas at the end.
We did, and 18 down at halftime, made a great comeback. I think we tied it up somewhere around the 10-minute mark, and it was a close game after that, and we never got the lead. And a lot of times when you use all that energy to make your comeback, and you don't actually get a lead. You know, you could get a 3, 4, 5 point lead. It makes all the difference in the world. But I'm definitely proud of our comeback in that game. And I guess we could start from the beginning. You know, we had the exhibition game at Baylor, which was a great experience for our players, and I guess the only negative from that is Brittany Griner suited out but didn't play.
I would have liked to have seen Kiara Wright play Brittany Griner.
So would I.
And by the way, Kiara doubled in that game too. Right. It didn't count, but she did.
She did. I hope none of these D1 schools, come down here and try to take her away from us this last year. But of course, we can talk about Kiara later. She had a great season, but. And then we went to St. Mary's and pretty well got hammered by St. Mary's and lost a couple of games early in the season. As a matter of fact, it didn't really look good for us, after the first 3 or 4 games. We went to UT Permian Basin, who got to the semifinals of the regional tournament, lost that one in overtime. And we were really searching for a point guard at that time. I think we tried like 4 different players at that spot. And once we settled on the freshman Morgan Ashmore, who ended up leading the Lone Star Conference in assists, I think she got double figures a couple of times in assists. Had a pretty good ratio, assist-turnover ratio, and we kind of settled on who our point guard was going to be. And I thought for a freshman, she had a good year. When you consider everything.
Yeah, absolutely. When you have a freshman who's starting off and running the offense, and she does as well as she did her first year, that's 3 years of positive coming up ahead.
Definitely. So I was proud of her. She's going to stay here this summer and get with Coach Cole, work hard on getting stronger and quicker, and really getting in great shape and getting in the gym. So that's a positive for her right there. And once we settled on her, it wasn't quite the halfway mark of the conference season. We were 8-0 and going to Midwestern. We had a 2-game lead on Midwestern at the time. So if we could get out of that gym with a win, we got a 3-game lead on them. Pretty well halfway through conference.
It went the exact opposite.
And of course, that was kind of our turning point in our season right there when we lost Shanae. Every team can make excuses, and most teams, a lot of teams have key injuries during the year. But to lose her and Carly on the same night, that was a blow to our team. I think we lost some leadership there. We lost some toughness. Carly was a real tough player, a player that would get loose balls, get on the floor, take charge and fouls, and a player that had a year of experience, And so we had to make a lot of adjustments there. We lost a lot of depth at the post position first, and then we lost depth at the guard positions too, because we had to move Cheyenne to a post. And then,
How long did it take to adjust to all that?
I don't know if we ever really adjusted to it because, foul trouble became a big factor for us. And, Kiera having to bear a lot of the burden right there, plus stay out of foul trouble. And, it seemed like at the end of the season, Brianna was getting in foul trouble quite a bit towards the end of the
true,
season,
she was.
which hadn't been a problem with her for almost 3 years. Getting in foul trouble, but I thought Brianna had a good year. And teams really started to lock down on Peyton. Cameron played the box and one, which we weren't prepared for. And then, just the rest of the season, whoever was guarding Peyton wasn't helping on anybody. I mean, they were in her footsteps all the way, so she struggled a little bit at the end. We got to do a better job of helping Peyton get open, setting better screens. She's got to learn to use screens better, and she's going to have to do a little better creating for herself, that mid-range game. But Peyton's a battler. She's a great kid. She works extremely hard, so she's going to come back and have a great senior year. But Coach Wilson came up with a 4-out triangle, and we tried that, and against some teams it worked well.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, against Midwestern that last game in Grand Junction, that's what we did the second half. We went to 4-out, kind of got everybody out of Kira's way, and she had 26 points in the second half. So we probably should have done that a little bit earlier in the game. But, Midwestern's a tremendously athletic team. They got great depth. They end up going to the regional finals, losing to Mesa by 4 points. They basically got all their players back, so they're going to be tough again. West Texas A&M, they've got basically everybody back. Of course, we lose ACU and Incarnate Word. And Angelo's a very young team. They're going to have a new coach next year. Sally Brooks is not going to be back, which will be a little bit of a transition, but they got a lot of really good players back. So, I thought we did the best we could, and went to the semifinals of the conference tournament, tied for third in the round robin. And then, made it to the national tournament. So I think if you look at what happened to us and look at the whole year, it was a good year.
I agree with you. I think that was a very good year.
Yeah.
In the game against Midwestern, the one that we got knocked out in, when Peyton hit the three-pointer straight away and was fouled, I almost strained a vocal cord. I thought, oh, this is it. Now we're coming back. This is where it starts right here.
Yeah.
And it didn't.
Yeah. I remember she was on her back, kind of laying there.
Where she knew she made it.
I think she did. I'm not sure. But, that was a great comeback. And, we were going on all cylinders, really had the momentum. And then I don't know what point Brianna fouled out, but she did foul out.
Well, I know that we didn't have the greatest of stat services, so we lost track on Brianna's fouls because I only had her with 3. And I looked up the board, and all of a sudden it read 5. So I was a little disconcerted with that.
Okay.
But
Morgan fouled out. Brianna
Morgan
fouled
did.
out. And Raven, who really came on at the end of the year.
Yes, she did. Raven McGrath.
She had 4 fouls. And, Kiera, how many did she have? She only had 2 fouls.
Only 2, yeah. Which is amazing considering the onslaught she unloaded on Midwestern in the second half.
Right.
No one had a clue to stopping her. She had 14 straight double-doubles. And we saw double teams, we saw triple teams. I mean, I was expecting to see all 5 on her at once there at some point. They just couldn't come up with a way to stop her.
Yeah, she was pretty amazing. Had a great, great year. And, nice to have her back one more year.
Oh, yeah, as is everybody, too. Because you're getting Brianna, you're getting Peyton, you're getting your other 2 posts back.
Yeah,
my gosh, Cheyenne.
That's going to be big. Carly actually ought to be able to work out this spring. She's got the pins out, and she's rehabbing that hand, that arm. She lost quite a bit of muscle mass there and strength in that hand, so we don't want her to get out there too early and re-injure it. So, but she ought to be able to get a little bit of spring practice in, of course, this summer, next fall. And then Shanae, if everything goes as planned, she'll be released on August 1st, so she'll be able to have a good fall and get back, hopefully close to what she was as a junior.
We were walking out the bus, and Shanae actually came up to us and goes, "When do we play again?"
When we play.
And, okay, how many months here? Let's see, 6, 8. I should be good to go. And she already has her countdown clock going.
Yeah.
That's just Shanae.
And one thing Shanae mentioned to me, which would be great for our fans here in Stephenville. One thing she talked about on the way to Grand Junction said we need to host this tournament next year.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of that.
So
yeah, huh?
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be closer than the state line of Utah, Colorado, where we were.
I know I mentioned to one of the Midwestern players as I was walking out of the gym, they were coming into practice, and I turned to them, and this one player, I said, "Man, this is a long way for a neutral site game." Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So, but we understood why we were there.
Right.
It's the Ronnie Hearne Show here at First Financial Bank on the Loop. Papa John's Pizza in the house, along with some Dr. Pepper. Come on by and register to win a couple things as well. We'll be here until 12:30. Like to see you here as well. The Ronnie Hearne Show continues right after this. Back we are at First Financial Bank here on the Loop. It's the Ronnie Hearne Show. This is the wrap-up show for the Texans and Texans basketball. And let's talk about something real quick here before we go back into wrapping things up. What's going to happen in the Lone Star Conference in the coming year with the Incarnate Word going away and Abilene Christian going away? Have you heard anything through the grapevine about who might replace them?
You're going to have to ask somebody a lot higher up than me, Coach Reisman or Dr. Tavio.
That's a question for you, Lon, tomorrow.
Or the commissioner. Okay. I have no idea on that.
Okay.
We'll see. I know we're getting smaller. We lost all those Oklahoma teams a couple of years ago, Central Oklahoma, Northeastern, Southeastern, Southwestern, East Central, all those directional schools up there. And then we're losing Incarnate Word, ACU. So, it's just that's the way it is all over the country. I don't know so much Division II, but Division I, you see that with the Big East, the ACC,
oh yeah,
the Big 12 or Big 10, whatever it is now. All the conferences are, seem like they change on a weekly basis.
It doesn't make any sense if you have a Big East conference, you see San Diego State in the conference.
Yeah. I think TCU was like in 3 conferences in about 6 months.
Oh yeah.
What were they in? The WAC or whatever they were in out there.
That was one of them.
And then they joined the Big East.
Mountain West.
Yeah, Mountain West.
Yeah.
And they joined the Big East. Now they're in the Big 12. And, it's just college athletics right now.
Volatile.
It'd be nice if it kind of settled down a little bit, I think.
I think it'd be very nice, that's for sure. Yeah. Well, now what happens with you now on recruiting? Because you don't have a lot of positions to look at. Since everybody's coming back, but how do you handle this offseason?
Well, we want to get some, really good walk-ons for sure. Have a good freshman class, and we're talking to some girls now. Coach Wilson's talking to them, setting up some visits, and there's one thing about our team. When you look at some of these other teams, we definitely have to get more athletic, I think, and get a little bigger at the guard positions, and. So, and I'm going to tell my team before we start spring practice, it starts in this room, you players in this room, you've got to get more athletic. And, the 5 months from April till September when we get back in school, that's the time when you can really work on that, and the ones that'll stay here and work with Coach Cole this summer, that'll be a big bonus for them. The ones that go home, need to do that at home. And so we definitely, I feel like, need to get more athletic. And we got to get better on the boards. We got to get better defensively. We got to have more depth. That's a big factor in college basketball. And, of course, with Shanae and Carly back, that's, going to help right there. But we do want a good freshman class for sure. And if there's some good D1 transfers that want to give us a call, that'd be fine too. So we are recruiting and of course recruiting for the year after that. I think this 2014 class of high school kids is going to be a good class, and we of course started a list there, and we got some that seem to be interested in us, so that's good.
Basketball used to be a 6-month sport,
right?
And that was it. And you went out and recruited a little bit, and then just kind of bided your time until you got to practice time, or court time right around October. But that's not even close to being the case now. This is almost a year-round thing.
It really is. And, high school kids now play year-round. They don't. I think they probably take off the month of August, maybe. So pretty well 11 months out of the year, these high school kids are practicing or playing basketball with all the AAU tournaments and the shootouts for college coaches to come and watch. It's year-round, and tournaments or all-star games are going on right now. Tournaments. I looked at a letter a girl sent us. She's a girl from the Metroplex, and she sent us her schedule, and it's just unbelievable. How many tournaments she's going to play in this spring and this summer.
That's a good person to have then.
It is, and I think about 6 of those tournaments were in Frisco.
Really?
And that seems to be kind of the center right now for all these tournaments. They got a tremendous facility there. I think they've got, seem like they got like 18 courts. They got like 6 courts that go across, and there's 3 different levels of those. And a lot of those tournaments are basically set up for college coaches to come and watch. And so we'll be going to Frisco.
I think Peyton mentioned that she played in the AAU.
Her and Kiera actually played on the same team.
How important is that to a program to have people who played in the AAU?
Oh, it's great, And, some of these AAU coaches are a little bit questionable, but some of those AAU coaches are really good, and they're in it for the kids, and they'll be honest with you about their players, and some of them, we've made contacts with and have a good relationship with, so that helps. And then, of course, these kids like Peyton, they don't only get to know the kids on their team and maybe help you with their high school teammates, they get to know these other players, like Kiera. So that's a big bonus.
When will you get back out on the court now, knowing that most of the time is going to be used in the weight room and conditioning, etc.? But when will you get everybody out back on the court?
Our plans is April 1st, and finals start around May 3rd, and we have to stop a week before finals start. So we only have less than 4 weeks, to work with them. And we can work with them, Coach Wilson and Morgan and I can work with them 2 hours a week, so we're pretty limited. And then they have 6 more hours that they can work without a basketball. And so Coach Cole, they're going to lift 3 days a week and do agility drills 2 days a week. And then Coach Wilson's going to take them either in the gym or out on the track and do some conditioning 2 days a week.
I am so impressed with Misty as her coaching abilities. Of course, we knew she was a great player when she played here. Morgan, too, for that matter. I mean, as far as assistant coaches, you've got a couple of gems there.
Yeah, Morgan, this was her first year, and, as a player, and you just graduated. Sometimes you're a little bit hesitant, to maybe do some things and think that your ex-teammates are going to listen to you. So I think Morgan will really, she's grown a lot this year, and I think next year she'll even do a better job having a year of experience. And of course, Coach Wilson, does a tremendous job. And to be honest, I really lean on her and rely on her a bunch. So it's great to have her.
It's the Ronnie Hearne Show from First Financial Bank on the South Loop. Papa John's Pizza is here. Come on by and get some. Register for a prize. We've got quite a few to give away, looks like, today. And we'll be doing that in just a moment. This is the wrap-up show, all Texans basketball all the time. And the Ronnie Hearne Show will continue right after this. As we wrap things up here, it'd be absolutely impossible not to talk about Kiera Wright and Peyton Manning. Listen to me. Peyton Adams.
Hey, that'd be great.
Anybody named Peyton's usually pretty good, I guess. But
isn't he about 6'6"?
He's about 6'6", yeah. But I'll bet you anything that Adamson can shoot the lights out over him.
Probably so.
Yeah. But anyway, those two were, again, off the chart. Kiera was just in some stratosphere somewhere else.
She was.
She won so many great awards, and Peyton was Peyton.
Yeah, Kiera had all the double-doubles. She led the nation in rebounding in double-doubles.
24, and she had 14 in a row going out.
I'm pretty sure she was pretty high in field goal percentage. in the nation. She was the MVP of our conference. We're, three of them that got Best Defensive Player of the Year, whatever you call it, in the Lone Star Conference. She's one of those. Certainly deserved that. She was the MVP of the South Central region. She got all tournament at the Lone Star Conference tournament. So I think you'd have to say she had a great year.
Does she have a fleeting shot at being an All-American?
Well, Nathan says yes, so I'm going to say yes. There's 8 regions, so there were 8 most valuable players of each region. And there's a first and second team, and there's honorable mention, of course. And, of course, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Maybe she'll get first team or second team All-American for sure. And I think Nathan said the voting stopped a couple of days ago. And so hopefully we'll know the results of that selection process here pretty soon. And so that would be tremendous if she does, tremendous for Tarleton State, for our basketball program.
Has there ever been an All-American here?
Well, since we've gone NCAA, we've had one honorable mention, and that was Shelby Adamson. And that's all I know. Of course, NAI, we had several All-Americans when Tarleton was NAI.
Yeah,
sure.
2 different things, I guess.
They had some great teams.
Right.
Went to the national tournament, got runner-up one year. And then, of course, Peyton Adamson had a great year, too. She was second team all-conference. And when you look at our conference with 11 teams and the quality players in our conference, that's quite an honor, too, for her to get second team all-conference. She's offensive player of the week a bunch of times. Of course, Kiera was defensive and offensive player of the week several times. And so those 2 young ladies had a great year.
It's pretty nice to say that Peyton had an off year shooting free throws. She was only 89%.
Well, I wondered if she got up to 90%.
Did she get to 90?
I don't know.
She was close.
Nathan, did Peyton get up to 90% for the year? Do you know?
Free throws?
89.5.
89.5.
Okay.
Round up.
I knew she was real close to 90%, and then I think that last game she was 4 for 4.
Right.
But real close. And I'm sure that'll be a goal of hers to get back up there, in the 90s next year. And Brianna Bledsoe's another one that could
Yes.
very easily, shoot 90% from the free throw line.
I'm kind of wondering if Brianna was either feeling the effects of a long season or was just kind of banged around a little bit because she started uncharacteristically missing free throws at the end.
She did. There for a while, she sure did. And that's not like Brianna.
Yeah.
And one thing I like about Brianna, I know it bothers her, but usually when she missed one, she'd have a big smile on her face, and that's the way you like players to react to things like that, even though they hate to miss one. And so Brianna will be okay next year.
She would do that if it was a block and a charge and it turned into a block, or she got a foul of any kind. You saw the biggest grin. And that is a great attitude to have.
It really is. And, Brianna's such a great kid, and we look forward to her next year having a great year and her leadership. We got so many kids. You can just have so many captains. Everybody can't be a captain, but she's definitely a leader. And before we run out of time, I want to thank Ron Mullins and the people at First Financial Bank for sponsoring this show again, and all the people that showed up every Thursday at noon. And, everybody in the athletic department, Terry and Susan and Kathy and all of them that do so much work in the athletic department. Of course, Coach Reisman. And, I've already, mentioned Misty and Morgan and Coach Cole, who does a fantastic job.
He doesn't get enough prep. Pub, rather, I should say.
He doesn't, he has so many athletes to work with, so many teams to work with. And I know during spring break he didn't have to come up, but we were working out in spring break, and he came in the Friday before and asked me when our workout times were and wanted to come up. And, he goes through about a 10-minute warm-up with them. And he came up, 8 o'clock one morning. Wow. I think it was 9:30 the next morning, whenever the next morning. But, he didn't have to come. It was his spring break. I didn't expect him to be there. So he just tremendous person. Of course, the band, the cheer team, and the dance team. You know, just everybody involved. And we had some super fans that have followed us all year. Bill and Peggy Haney. You know, they were there in Grand Junction and took care of Miss Hearne, brought her back home for me. I really appreciate that. And you know, the Johanssons and the Elliots were there. Doug Montgomery was there. You know,
Morgan Ashbourne's parents were there. I met
Morgan's parents, of course, Peyton's were there.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know, just the people that have followed us and gone on those long road trips. David Thomas and you know, and Susan and Troy and people like that. Royce Carpenter, Dorothy Farrar. You know, just Gay and Ken. You know. Couple from Natty Flat, they were always there. You know, just tremendous people that come and support our team.
Well, you know, we hate to wrap it up, but this is going to have to be it. But the next time that we'll have another show will be on down the road. Let's call it November just to be safe.
All right.
And we'll find out what happens for us for the 13 and 14 season. If I had to say one thing about my first year doing the games here, for Tarleton, was that I am so impressed with the coaching staff, with the team, the attitude of the team, the dedication of the team. This is just from top to bottom, just an absolute great thing to be around, and I thoroughly love this.
Thank you, Mike, and I thank you, and really appreciate you, and I think you kind of got attached to our team.
Very much so.
And I really appreciate that.
We will see you again in a year.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
It's been the Ronnie Hearne Show from First Financial Bank. That'll wrap it up for today. Don't forget, tomorrow it's Lunch with Lon and his wrap-up show. Casey Hogan will be handling that from Bruner Motors. So plan on that tomorrow. Thanks for listening to Texans basketball during the season. We will talk to you again with Texans basketball right around November. Take care.